Welcome to the Applied Machine Learning for the Cyber Security, a hands-on YouTube video tutorial series specially designed for the data and machine learning engineer to help them to solve the critical challenges in cybersecurity space by applying the modern machine learning and data engineering techniques. This is the 5th tutorial in the section 2 and 10th in this series. If you haven't seen the previous video, then I would recommend you to watch it first for having the better understanding about this course before continuing any further on this path, and you can watch it either by clicking on the link given below in the description or by going to the first video in the playlist. A quick recap on what we had covered so far in section 2. First, we had briefly talked about the Apache Spark and Kubernetes architecture and discussed the advantages of leveraging the Kubernetes as a cluster manager for Spark. Next, we had deployed the sample Spark application on Kubernetes cluster using the Kubernetes deployment object. Next, we had created the sample ML pipeline with the help of Apache Spark on Kubernetes. Next, we had developed end-to-end ML pipeline using the typical deployment, build and development life cycle. And at last, we had seen the integration of the third-party libraries with the Spark like XGBoost and H2 AutoML and perform the malware analysis using the same. Till this point, we had pretty much explored all the aspects of machine learning for developing our static malware analysis use case, where we had initially started with doing the proof of concept on small scale of data using the scikit-learn, pandas and Python, and later on developing the production grade pipeline using the scale out Spark cluster on Kubernetes. We had also seen that in addition to the Spark ML, we can also integrate some of the robust machine learning third-party libraries like XGBoost and H2 AutoML into the Spark, and also explored the complete development, build and development deployment lifecycle using the same. When it comes to training the large data set or terabyte of size, we have two choices. First, using the cluster computation, also called as the distributed computing, and we had seen the implementation of same using the Apache Spark, which is in-memory distributed computing engine. And the approach 2 is using the GPU accelerated training, which is emerging as very promising approach and gaining the huge traction from the industry for implementing the complex machine learning use cases. So, what is GPU accelerated training and why industry leaders are preferring to use the GPU over the cluster computation? And there are two reasons for using the GPU. Number one is the performance and number two is the cost. The reason for the performance difference is the GPU architecture. GPU consists of large number of cores that are co-located on the same chip. The cores are organized into the groups that execute into the lockstep. This means that the main way to program the GPU is by thinking of them as the vector processor that perform the same operation on the vector of data. On the other hand, cluster computation consists of number of nodes that are interconnected over the local or wide area network. Each node typically has multiple cores which are independent processors. This means that when computing on the cluster, the data need to be split up and sent to the correct nodes and the result need to be collected back. Also, the nodes are not naturally synchronized and neither are the cores in the node. There is a lot of communication that need to happen to make everything work. On top of that, the slow interconnect results in the high latency. So, the main challenge is to keep the nodes busy while communication is taking place. Due to this reason, GPU accelerated training is much faster than the cluster computation. The second benefit of the GPU is the considerable amount of cost saving, and the following figure shows the obvious difference when the cost of operation is calculated for the sample use cases using both GPU and the cluster computation. As you can see that in case of the GPU cluster, the cost of operation has substantially come down to the several fold, and this is very obvious as the amount of hardware required for the GPU is very less, and so do the complexities and the cost of operations. Now that we have seen the advantages of using the GPU over the cluster computation, let's incorporate this learning in order to solve our malware analysis use case. And when it comes to using the GPU accelerated training, we have two choices. First, using the framework like Rapids, which is the abstraction over the CUDA primitives and provides the programming interfaces similar to the scikit-learn and pandas, which makes it extremely easy to use, and the majority of the machine learning community has some sort of experience using these libraries. The second approach is using the deep learning techniques like TensorFlow or PyTorch, which is inherently support the GPU accelerated training out of box. In the current video, we will see the implementation of the malware analysis using the Rapids, and the next video is dedicated for the deep learning frameworks. When it comes to Rapids, there are multiple packages available to solve the machine learning use cases, and those are QDF. It's the CUDA data frame, which is drop-in replacement for the Panda data frame and provides all the features which Panda provides. But unlike the Panda, it leverages the GPU memory to do this. Next is the QML, which is the drop-in replacement for the scikit-learn and had incorporated many algorithms from the scikit-learn, but still work is in progress, and over the time it may support all the algorithms which currently scikit-learn supports. Next is the QGraph, which is used for doing the graph analytics, and finally it has the QDNN, which is for implementing the neural network use cases on the GPU. In practice, we have to use one or more combination of this library to implement the end-to-end use case, and we will see the same along the line during this demo. Now that we have the brief understanding on the GPU accelerated training using the Rapids, let's put it in the action and develop our first machine learning model using Rapids over the GPU hardware. And when it comes to building the real-time ML pipeline using GPU, the task can be broken down into the two categories. First, provisioning the GPU-enabled host and installing the required CUDA and Docker libraries on it. And the second is Dockerizing the actual machine learning code with the help of Rapids. We will see both these steps in action, and let's start with provisioning the hardware for running the GPU accelerated training. And we are going to follow the following sequence. First, we will provision the AWS EC2 instance with the GPU enabled on it. Next, we will install the CUDA framework on the above instance, and finally we will install the Docker runtime on top of it. So let's start with our first step, and for the purpose of this demo, I am using AWS G4DN instance family, which is based on NVIDIA Tesla T4 GPUs, which is the latest GPU model at the time of recording this video. Now that our EC2 instance has been provisioned, let's SSH to it and install the required CUDA libraries. The CUDA libraries are not installed on the GPU instance by default, and we can verify the same using the NVIDIA SMI command, which is the short for the NVIDIA System Management Interface, a command line utility based on top of the NVIDIA Management Library NVML, intended to aid the management and monitoring of the NVIDIA GPU devices. The output of this command determines whether we have the GPU accelerated hardware installed or not, along with the suitable CUDA framework. As you can see that currently we do not have the CUDA framework installed and configured on this GPU install, and we are going to install and configure the same. The installation instruction has been provided in the readme file associated with the artifact for this tutorial, which is the chapter 5. We will follow the same in order to enable the GPU support for this instance. And now you can see the output of the command, which provides the significant information on the type of GPU processor we are using, the CUDA versions we have installed, and any running processes on this GPU. In this case, we don't have any process currently running as we haven't started any job yet. The next step is to install the Docker runtime on the GPU, and the thing to note that Docker runtime for the GPU is not same as the conventional Docker runtime which we had used in the previous video, and we have to use the NVIDIA Docker 2 package, which supports running the Docker container over the GPU accelerated platform. Once installed, we can verify the same using the following Docker command, and successful output shows that we have properly configured our host for running the Docker workload on the GPU. And now, next step is to build a Docker image for leveraging the Rapid framework for implementing our static malware analysis use case. Now, let's issue the Docker run command to launch the Jupyter notebook with the Rapid ASI image. Now that our Jupyter server is up and running, let's upload the notebook and associated dataset with this exercise and examine the same before running the code. The first step is to unzip the dataset. Next, we are importing the QDF and QML classes, and we are going to follow exactly same sequence of the step as we did in the malware classification using pandas and scikit-learn. For the quick recap, let's open the malware classification notebook from the section 1 and chapter 3, and as you can see, here we are using the pandas and scikit-learn classes, and we are going to follow the exact same sequence of these steps here in the GPU training, except pandas will get replaced with the QDF and scikit-learn will get replaced with the QML. Let's switch back to our current notebook and execute each step sequentially. After importing the necessary classes in cell 1, next we would be creating the CUDA data frame by reading the data set. Once the data frame has been created, we will run the count vectorizer on it to create the bag of words. We had already discussed the different vectorizer in section 1, and I am not going to repeat the same. The only difference here is instead of using the scikit-learn, we are using the count vectorizer classes from the QML package, which is the count vectorizer to run on GPU. Once the feature has been extracted with the count vectorizer, next step is to normalize the data using the standard scaler, just like we did it in the previous section, except the standard scaler class is from the QML packages. Once the feature has been extracted with the count vectorizer, next step is to normalize the data using the standard scaler, just like we did it in the previous section, except the standard scaler class is from the QML package. Next, let's split the data into the train and test set and run some classification algorithm on it. For the purpose of this demo, I am using the simpler classification models, that is logistic regression and k-neighbor classifier, but you may try a different classifier provided in the QML package, and you can find it in the QML API reference pages shown below. As you can see, we have just done with the malware classification using the simple classification algorithm like logistic regression and k-neighbor classifier using the GPU accelerated training with the help of Rapids framework. And with this, I am concluding the current chapter where we had just seen the end-to-end implementation on malware classification using With this, I am concluding the current chapter where we had just seen the end-to-end implementation on malware classification use case using the GPU accelerated training with the help of Rapids framework built on the top of CUDA primitive. Hope you find this video helpful, and I would advise you to explore other classification algorithms from the QML, and please let me know if you face any issue while doing so. At last, please leave your comment and let me know your feedback about the tutorial, and please subscribe the channel if you haven't. That way you can always get the first handle on any upcoming videos as soon as it's being released. Thank you and have a nice time.